call this meeting to order. And Anthony Bruno, would you please say the prayer?
Yes. Loving God, as we come together tonight for your strength to do what is best for the good of Waterville, Lord God, as servants of your people, we pray that you grant us and share your wisdom.
Thank you. And stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and we'll do roll call.
Mr. Bruno?
Here.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Here.
Mayor Brody? Mr. Rosa?
Here.
Mr. Pedro?
Here.
Mrs. Duncan?
Here. I would like to excuse Mayor Brody as she had a prior obligation with her younger son this evening at a banquet, so it was unavoidable.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, moving on. Next order of business is the approval of 2nd, 2018. Are there any comments or corrections? All right, seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, we need a motion for that, I'm sorry. Okay,
So moved.
Second.
all right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, opposed? All right, our next order of business is a proclamation. It's a Small Business Saturday, and I'll go ahead and read that. Whereas, we join the Toledo Regional Chamber of Commerce in celebrating our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our community. And whereas in our region, there are more than 44,700 businesses with fewer than 100 employees, according to the most recent data from the U.S. Census Bureau. And whereas these small businesses comprise 92% of all firms in the region. And whereas according to the U.S. Small Business Administration. And whereas small businesses often offer many unique products and services, as well as local crafts and specialties. And whereas small businesses contribute to our communities by providing goods, creating jobs, and supporting the overall health of our economy. And whereas businesses, public entities, and other organizations across the nation have established the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore, on behalf of Lori A. Brody, Mayor of the City of Waterville, we hereby proclaim November 24th, 2018 as Small Business Saturday. So in the City of Waterville, we urge all our residents to support small businesses on Small Business Saturday and throughout the year. Okay. And moving into citizens' comments, do we have any? Okay, Mr. Walls, if you please approach the podium and state your name and address.
Sure. John Wood, Police Department's policy for handling complaints. It's a 14-page document, so I'm not expecting you to be able to comment on it tonight. A couple of the things that I really like about theirs, which I believe is comprehensive, all complaints are written down. So if a complaint comes in and it's anonymous, they make a note of it and it goes into a special file to keep this for anonymous complaints. If they have a complaint that comes in and it's unsubstantiated, it's not put into the officer's file, but it's put into a separate file under the complainant's name. And if it is substantiated, then it goes into the officer's file. And you'll see it's 14 pages. I'm not going to summarize all of it for you tonight, but sorry, a little bit nervous. But you know, one of the things, it's open. All the complaints are seen by more than one person. I made some notes, but I haven't even looked at them yet. Ours is different. In February of 2017, I made a complaint to the chief that included 9 pages, photos, dates, times of harassment. The chief that day sent out an email to the entire department asking them to not sit in front of my house, to not follow my cars. Since then, when I referred to that complaint, the chief says it never came in. So either he's lying or I'm lying, and he and I both know which it is. But if we wrote down every complaint, he would be able to definitively say, the file's not here. John's a liar. But we don't know. Since I've kind of been in the public, you know, making it known that I have these complaints, people have emailed me and called me. As far back as 2012, there was complaints of Officer Linger sitting in front of people's homes, following their cars. One man told me he went into the chief's office twice in 2012 with his complaints, begging the chief to write something down. If we don't write down our complaints, we have no way of knowing. If we would just write down. So what Northwood does, in the second page of the document you have, has the chief in Northwood's email and his phone number, and he said he's very open to answering any questions you have about how their process works. They're very open about it. And one of the things in Northwood, which I believe is a transparent, open, well-operating department, they had one complaint last year and one complaint the year before, and when I asked about it, the chief was able to email me back within a couple hours summarizing both of those complaints. And they're not a much larger department, they're slightly larger department than ours is in Waterville, but very comparable. I believe they've got 17 officers. And in Waterville, we're the only department in Wood County, Lucas County, or Henry County that doesn't have a Facebook page. Our chief keeps saying, well, it's in Monfort, Sylvania, Toledo, Northwood, Bowling Green, White House, Waterville, and every other place in these 3 counties has a Facebook page, and it's not a minefield of negative comments. I think it's 97 or 98% of departments nationally have a Facebook page, and for them, it's not a minefield of negative complaints that they have to shut down. So something is different in Waterville than all these other departments. And I think if we, my hope is that by the next meeting, you take the time to read the document, call the chief in Northwood there. Chief, I think it's Carroll, very nice man, very open. He would love you to come in and see how his department operates. And maybe you can understand the differences between what's going on in Waterville and what's going on in Northwood.
Okay. Thank you. All right, thank you, Mr. Wells. I'm sure council will take a look at this and come with questions and comments at our next meeting. All right, are there any other citizens' comments tonight? Duncan?
I have nothing this evening, except I think we have a couple of students here. Would you like to stand up and tell us who you are and where you're from?
If you want to come to the podium over here. Don't be shy. There you go. We're a friendly group. And just say your name and where you're from.
I'm Marissa, and I'm a sophomore at Notre Dame.
I'm Rachel. I'm a sophomore at Notre Dame as well.
At Notre Dame as well?
Yep.
And do you live in Waterville or in the area?
I live in Toledo. She lives in Waterville.
Great. Well, welcome. We won't bite. That's it.
Thank you for coming. All right, Mr. Pedro.
Just one thing that the Economic Development Corporation had their annual meeting last week. It was well attended. We had a great speaker from the park system, and thank those that were able to attend. That's
Nice informative information about the metro parks. So thanks for having us. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Oh my gosh, Fry. Sorry about that.
No report this evening.
All right, and Mr. Bruno.
No report this evening.
All right, and I have no comments. Moving into staff reports. We begin with Mr. Bagdonis.
Thank you. Council members have a copy of my report. I'd like to touch on a couple things. The Anthony Wayne Dutch Road Waterline Project is the first phase of a new water line that will connect 2 dead ends that we have on River Road and the Anthony Wayne Trail. And we have some good news. There were a couple inserting valves that were originally planned to be used on the project, and those are fairly expensive items. And once they got into construction, they found that they did not go another 400 or 500 feet south along the Anthony Wayne Trail, which is water line that we won't have to do then as phase 2 of the project. So we'll get a little farther with the unit prices we have for this project and save some money in the long run. And then, as you've noticed in the report, I've been attending the progress meetings for the new bridge. We had the most recent one today, and the project is on schedule. And one reminder, if it's not obvious, there will be no polar dip for the next 2 years because Memorial Park is not open to the public at this time. End of my report.
All right, any questions for Mr. Bagdonis? All right, moving on to Mr. Dombey, our law director.
No report tonight, Your Honor.
Thank you. And our finance director, Mr. Kokenauer.
Budget and finance report, and this covers January through September of this year, so the budget year is about 75% over. We're also going to be presenting this report at our finance committee meeting, which is November 16th, this Friday at 7:30 a.m. In general, the budget is tracking as expected. If you look through my notes in terms of the revenue and expenses, most of the revenue is at or above 75%. Most of the expenses are at or below 75%. The general fund revenue is about 79% overall. Property tax is at 100%. Municipal income tax about 78%. Our local government fund revenue is 77%. EMS service fees were at 60%, but that's where that is. Our refuse fee is at where it should be. Dedicated funds, I did note the permissive tax is a little bit less than it should be, but we do have 3 additional payments coming in this year, so that should be that should end on budget. The revenue for the 5-year capital is at 77%. Water operating and water debt are where they should be. The sewer operating and sewer debt funds, I did note that it's the sewer operating fund is a little less than 75%, but our expenses are at 69%. So I think that kind of equals those things out. General fund expenses 68% overall. The dedicated funds are mostly below 75%. And as we do every year, we have certain dedicated funds that each fund is at 85%, and the tax equivalent fund is at 100%. 5-year capital, the expenditures are about 42%. We have completed, as Mr. Blair, I think, pointed out in his last report, the salt storage building is done, and the paving program is done, so we haven't received those bills yet, so those will be coming in, and those will bring that expense number up. Enterprise funds, our 600 series, again, between 10 and 100%. 100% of our storm sewer debt has been paid for 2018. Everything seems to be where it should be in those funds. Grand total revenues, $8,958,347, 78%, and then expenses, $7,140,000. At the end of the third quarter, the city had getting into the rebate reports, at the end of the third quarter, the city collected a total of $2,648,399. For October of 2018, the city collected $327,996 for October. We were about $19,000 ahead of where we were in October of 2017. Our year-to-date total is about $2.9 million, so we're very close to our estimated total for the budget year of $3,467,855. We have 2 months remaining. Realistically, I think we can make that difference between where we are now and our budget total, about $231 at their meeting on Friday as well, and that's Friday, November 16th at 7:30.
All right, any questions? Easy crowd tonight. All right, thank you. Our treasurer, Mr. Schultz. Okay, thank you. Our police chief, we actually have a representative tonight. Our chief had some knee surgery, right?
Yes, for those that don't know me, my name's Rob Canup. It's my privilege to be one of the sergeants here on the police department. The chief asked me to touch on 3 things tonight. One, the drug take-back was successful. Waterville collected over 110 pounds of pills. Our new police SUV is in service, and we have a new police officer that'll be wrapping up his training soon, and will be on his own.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Our fire chief, Mr. Wombo. Bittersweet report tonight, huh?
Good evening. You have a copy of my report in your packet. At the fire station and also at Waterville Primary School. We had 16 members of the department who could not attend this weekend. It was 16 hours that they spent, and it was a full day. Very good program. I guess there was some complaints about shots being fired, but they were all fake. But it was a good program, and the guys learned a lot, and they are ready. They are ready if something happens. So it was an active shooter. So that's the end of my report.
All right, any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
And finally, Mr. Blair, our Public Works Director.
Hey, Mr. Vice Mayor. You have a copy of my report. I really don't have anything to add to that. You also have a copy of the project updates. That's the downtown streetlight project. I don't know if you have any other questions on that, but I kind of beat that to death over the last couple of meetings. So.
Yeah.
The other thing is, as you probably well know, we're in the prime of leaf collection season. For the next several weeks, we'll be balancing that with downtown street lighting, or Christmas lighting. So we're going to be burning candles at both ends. So I hope everybody is patient. This year, these leaves came down all at once, and they're a lot heavier along the roadways, and it really slows you down. Then longer trips to yard waste facility back and forth. So be patient. I know that the flyer in the canal post says it will be finished on November 21st, I believe. But we will go.
It was a late fall.
Yeah. That's the end of my report, unless you have any questions.
All right, any
Great. I
questions?
did see your guys up starting the decorating uptown
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, we're beginning the process. I know they have Light Up Waterville. I think it's the 1st of December, Jamie said. So we're going to have to kind of hustle to get this all ready.
Get ready, yep.
We'll make it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Blair. All right, moving into old business. We have a discussion on the table tonight about the formation of a Union Cemetery District. Mr. Bagdonis will let you kind of discuss that.
Thank you. Included in your packet is a summary. The committee that was formed at our joint meeting with 2 representatives from each of the jurisdictions met on October 25th. But we discussed a bit the requested contribution of $2,500 from the City of Waterville and the Village of White House to cover cemetery expenses of the township through the end of the year. As you would expect, we discussed at great length the formation of the Union Cemetery District, and I believe the conclusion of the committee is that the formation of such a district is in the best interests of the taxpayers of the 3 jurisdictions. It provides an equitable means to operate and maintain the 5 public cemeteries to a standard that's in keeping with the care and respect that the individuals interred in those cemeteries and their families deserve. John Burrell of the Lucas County Prosecutor's Office has been asked to prepare the sample legislation that each of the 3 jurisdictions would need to consider to pass to form the district, formed on or as close to January 1st of 2019 as we could. And there will be some other intergovernmental agreements as a part of that formation. We scheduled another meeting of the committee on December 12th, and go back to the requested contribution. In your packet also, there's a letter from Waterville Township that formally asks for a contribution of $2,500 from the village and the city to assist in covering their expenses. This would go into their cemetery fund. In our case, we have a cemetery services agreement that will need to be amended to allow such a payment or contribution from the city, because it doesn't contemplate any sort of $2,500 contribution. We would need to prepare an amendment to our cemetery services agreement and then a resolution to authorize the execution of that amendment. Mr. Donoby or Mr. Fry, have anything you'd like to add?
We've looked at it and we have drafted said resolution and thoughts on the matter. It would appear to be the best strategy at this point in time, given anything we would do with the Union Cemetery in 2019 would not show up for tax duplicate payments until 2020, which is the 2019 tax. We do probably have the largest of the township cemeteries, and it contains many buildings, including their hall. So if we can keep it going through the end of the year, it'll give us the best options on how to go forward and bring them all up to.
I mean, I agree. I mean, this is something that I don't see any other choice here in forming the union, and quite honestly, in 2019, we're going to have to be looking at funding this union between the village of White House and ourselves. So that's something else that, you know, the committee needs to look at and determine what those dollars need to be. And what we talked about is that those would be funds that would be loaned to the Union Cemetery District and then paid back over a 3 to 5 year period. Because the tax levy funds would not start flowing in, as Mr. Dombey said, until 2020. And that's getting this put in place so that we can establish that millage by, I believe it's May of 2019.
Council has any other discussion or questions regarding this?
5 years, it says several, but 2 to 5 is maybe a range.
I'm giving a range of 3 to 5. I'm probably leaning more towards 5, but you know, that's just my thoughts and opinion at this point.
And the only other thing, just on surface, I'm for it and I'm supporting it because I think the committee and others have worked hard to get at this point. I guess my only question is, the city of Waterville and the village of White House are going to be considered asked to be considered to advance $50,000 per entity. Will the Waterville Township have any funding into that mechanism? Just however it might be, I think there needs to be something in there, how modest it might be, just to seal the deal, I guess.
Well, the way it works is there's Waterville Township will be participating in the repayment of that money, because if we set millage in 19, it won't be collected until 20. So 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, the proceeds of that tax revenue will be paying back the village and the city. And that revenue will be coming from the millage collected from all three entities. So the city and the village will be repaid in full. Given the township's financial situation, I don't think they feel that they're in a position to advance the money in 19.
All right.
But it's not a contribution like the $2,500 would be. It would be an advance that would be repaid.
Okay.
And the good news is the values out there are roughly similar and are going to be large contributions based on property values.
Another resolution at the next meeting, is that the idea, or do we need something tonight?
He needs direction.
No, nothing's needed tonight. I guess if council is willing to consider the $2,500, then I don't need anything formal, just a direction from council to have that prepared for the next meeting.
And more further discussion.
I guess, not hearing anything to the contrary, we will have that ready for the next meeting. Thank you.
And then make changes to the agreement at that time too.
This would only be one change to our cemetery services agreement that would allow a
Payment.
contribution.
Yeah, because it says no payment in
Yes.
there,
Correct.
so that's what we need to.
Yes, there's only one sentence that needs to be amended.
Okay.
All right then. Moving on. Ordinance 2118. An ordinance accepting the annexation of the territory proposed for annexation by the petition filed by Philip L. Dombey, agent for Andrew and Jennifer Wren, on June 1st, 2008, held October 22nd, 2018, and the third reading and legislative action is scheduled for this evening, November 13th, 2018. Jim?
Thank you. This is an annexation including one single-family house on the west side of the Anthony Way Trail, just north of Canal. And the county commissioners have approved it, and this is the final step in the formal annexation of that property. Next, this issue will be referred to the planning commission for the establishment of the permanent zoning of that property.
All right, we'll need a motion.
I'll move.
Second?
All right, any other discussion? All right, roll call.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes?
Mr. Pedro?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Rosick?
Yes.
All right, motion passed. All right, our next order of business is all right, and roll call.
Mr. Rosick?
Yes.
Mrs. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Pedro?
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Bruno?
Yes.
Mr. Fry?
Yes.
Okay, we will be back momentarily to complete our council meeting. You're welcome to stay.
I'm thinking about it. I try not to hold people up, so I go last.
Okay, okay.
Okay. You know, it takes me a minute. That's why I